The red light has come on. That's actually the white light. Hello, everybody. I'm Captain Jim Palmer, the Dream Business Coach. I'm the founder of the Dream Business Mastermind and Coaching Program, creator of Dream Business Academy, and host of this podcast, Dream Business Radio, and which is in its 9th year, by the way. I know I always say I'm stymied with that. It's like when I started this, I thought I was really late to the game in 2011 or so when I started. And now it's like there's millions and millions of podcasts. But I think in 9 years, I've only missed 2 or 3 weeks. So not too shabby. Anyway, welcome to another fantastic live interview. My friend, Megan here is going to be my great guest today. We're just laughing about how the sausage is made because I was literally running like a Tasmanian devil. I had to stick my antenna up above my boat so I could get a signal. So anyway, we're having a good time. So Megan Meyers, let me collect my thoughts here. Megan Meyers, very impressive track record of achievement and creating success. And, you know, I'm not going to ask her age, but she's far younger than I am. And so let me give her a proper introduction. From NFL cheerleader to successful dance studio owner to an online business expert, Megan is also a busy mother of 2, and she really, truly figured out how to have it all. I'm sure some days don't feel like that, but you're going to be very inspired and impressed with the story. So 20 years ago, Megan turned her passion for dance into a thriving local dance studio in Napa, California. And then when motherhood became her highest priority, she didn't want to work the 60 to 80 or 90 hours most small business owners like us work, right? So she put her entrepreneurial instincts to work and she created a wildly successful online business called the Princess Ballerinas Studio Membership Program. And today she mentors and coaches and shares her Princess Ballerina programs, lesson plans, everything that goes into running a successful dance studio with listen to this, 2,000 dance studios worldwide, all while working part-time from the comfort of her own home. Megan is passionate about helping other women. And today, I'm going to share a little bit how we started working together, creating this whole new program called Shine Online by teaching women how to turn their passion, skills, experience into simple digital products so that they too can live their life, the life of their dreams, wherever that is. Megan, as I said, has created the Shine Online Network. It's a one-of-a-kind national network that empowers women to start and grow their first online business. She is the author of the soon-to-be-released, I know it's soon to be released because it's one of the things we're working on together. The book will be called, take a guess, Shine Online. And she's also the host of the Shine Online podcast. I think you're seeing a theme here, like dream business. So in full disclosure, Megan, as I've mentioned, is a member of my Dream Business Mastermind. She's one of my VIP coaching members, one of my favorite calls every week. Megan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I was so excited to have you on. Now, I really wanted to interview you about 3 months ago, but I said, let's get about 6 months under our belt. I know in 6 months, I was shocked because you started telling me some of the stuff, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, one quick housekeeping before we dive in, and you can be impressed and inspired by Megan's story. All my books are still available, and I don't mean still; they're always going to be available for free in digital format, including Decide and the others at Amazon. You can just go to Amazon. Click on my author page. You'll see them all there. Download them. If you're into Nook books, you can go to barnesandnoble.com or you can download them from the iBook store. That's not a promotion. It's part of my legacy building program. And so anyway, that's pretty cool. As I'm doing this interview live, which will be rebroadcast through the regular audio podcast, it is February 23rd. So Stephanie and I are here for another 5 weeks in the Florida Keys. Time's starting to run out, but if you want to visit and do a half day or full day consult, go to getjimpalmer.com. Anyway, let's get right to my special guest. Megan, you truly are an expert at building online businesses, but I want to start off this interview, like I do most of my podcast interviews, ask you a little bit about your backstory. Why dance? How you got into dance? Why it's such a passion of yours? And what led you to a brick and mortar studio?
Sure. Dance totally changed my life when I was a teenager, freshman in high school. I was, believe it or not, I have no problem speaking now, but I was painfully shy as a child. I mean, really, I had like my family and maybe a best friend or two. Other than that, I did not open my mouth in public. I just was really, literally uncomfortable in my own skin all the time. And it wasn't until I started dancing my freshman year of high school. I tried out for the dance team. Had a great coach, but just the coach, the experience, the team, learning to dance totally gave me confidence, totally put me in my element, and I just blossomed into a new person. I started getting straight A's. I became, getting involved in student government and running rallies and school dances, and just dance truly changed my life. And so
that was the catalyst to basically lacking self-confidence, right? A lot of parents put their kids in karate, but dance was your thing that brought you out of your shell, right?
And I was attracted. I wasn't like, I have low self-esteem, I need to dance. It was just, I saw the other girl, the cheerleaders in their cute little uniforms walking around school my freshman year. I said, those girls look like fun, and that looks like fun, and look at those cute outfits. I want to do that. And so I tried out and made the team, and the rest is history. But the experience of doing that, so I was just drawn to it from the fun, and I didn't realize the life-changing benefits of it. Of course, had a wonderful coach who really taught me a lot of just life skills, success skills at a very foundational level. So I really needed that whole experience. So I just developed this passion for it. And then right after high school, it was my best friend's older sister. She was running an after-school program for at-risk kids, and she was running the girls program. She said, they really want to learn how to dance. Will you come in and teach them how to dance? And I was, 18, fresh out of high school. And I said, I'm not a teacher. I don't know how to teach anybody. She said, just, bring your boom box. This was, 2001, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Bring your boom box and
giant boom boxes.
Exactly. And just dance with them for, half hour. They're going to love it. Like, you can't go wrong. So I came in, it was so much fun. We had so much fun. Quick story of it is a local studio ended up closing. Somehow those parents got word of my free classes going on. They started bringing their kids to me, and I sort of like, well, you guys aren't at-risk youth. I'm going to charge you people. And so I started charging money for those lessons, and basically found myself making money teaching dance, which is the essence of a dance studio. And the nonprofit that I was teaching in said, hey, lady, you're kind of running a business here. They wanted to start charging me rent, which spurred the idea of, well, perhaps I should look for another place. If I'm going to be paying rent, maybe I could look for a better location. Then I should add that this was on the Napa State Hospital property. I was teaching these dance lessons. So it was not an ideal location to teaching dance.
Gotcha.
That's another story. But anyway, so that's how I started teaching dance and opened a dance studio. They sort of fell into my lap like all things do.
And somewhere in there, and it's funny, I just learned this recently, you became an NFL cheerleader. Where did that fit in? You're becoming a dance studio.
5 years into owning my studio, actually. So I was 21 when I did that. So 18, 19, 20, 20, yeah, 4 years into owning my studio. I sort of missed dancing myself. I thought, hey, I'm only 21. It's not time, I don't have to be retired from the dancing aspect myself. Teaching was fun, but I missed the performance aspect. And so a friend of mine and I decided, hey, let's go audition for the Oakland Raiders. We're in the Bay Area, so we've got the 49ers here, we've got the Oakland Raiders here. And we auditioned for the Oakland Raiders, and lo and behold, made the squad. And it was a great experience. I did that for 2 seasons.
Wow, that's crazy cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
That's like the big time. So then after you're done with the cheerleading, is that when you started getting a different location? Like, you're not on the hospital property, but you opened your official brick and mortar dance studio?
No, that was long before. So I was 4 years into running my studio. When I first opened my studio, I was actually commuting to UC Berkeley, about an hour away, to get my degree in business. So I already had my business degree. I already had my studio. I was 4 years into it. I had employees at that point, but I just happened to start so young. I opened my studio when I was 18. So,
Wow.
At the ripe old age of 21, I had employees, I had my studio, and I just missed the performance aspect. So anyway.
I'm curious, were your parents or grandparents any entrepreneurial inspirations in your family, or are you like a first generation entrepreneur in your family?
My grandmother, actually, for the most part, I come from a long line of good traditional employees. I would not say I come from true entrepreneurial roots, but my grandmother actually, in raising 5 children in the 50s, she started a bag business. She makes duffel bags and backpacks, and she was doing this out of her home, and she would sell them. She got the idea, I'm going to go to this college and I'm going to slap the college logo on it. And I'm going to go to this, business association. I'll put their logo on it. And so she basically started a bag business that she put all all 5 of her children through college, running her home-based business in the 50s and the 60s, which was very untraditional for the times. So I do have that. And my grandmother to this day is still around and still doing fabulous things and has always inspired me and always has been one of my biggest supporters. Yes.
Wow. So you really grew so much I want to cover, so I don't want to cut it too short, but so you really grew a very successful brick and mortar small town business, a dance studio, and then your husband and you decided to start a family. And the mother heartstrings, or if you want to call it that, you really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So you said, I need to find a way to still make money, but be a stay-at-home mom.
Right. Yes. So at the point of when we had my son, my husband and I were both running the studio. We both worked in the studio full time. And so it wasn't, that was our family business. And so, but it was, I wanted to, I could not, even though I had employees, even though I'm the queen of systems, I could not fully escape that brick and mortar world. No matter, I could not systematize myself out of it. I had a front desk manager. I had a staff of 10 employees. My husband was on the maintenance front doing all of that stuff. It still was taking up my entire life. I mean, we didn't take a vacation for 10 years, just brick and mortar.
Oh, wow.
Nonstop. It's just the emergencies never stop. The fires never stop being put out. So I wanted to find a way to simplify. And so the idea of, I actually had hired a coach to help me. I thought I would just take my Princess Ballerinas program, and I thought I would be opening multiple locations because it was my most systematized program, curriculum. It was bringing in the most profit. It was the best customers. It was just the easiest to deal with. The 3 to 5 year old girl market in the dance studio world is just the most prolific.
So that I just want to make sure our listeners catch this, and I know because your story, but you had different programs. Like I think there were I don't know, toddlers, whatever. Then there was the mid-range 3 to 5s, and then you had older programs. But you called that most popular program Princess Ballerinas, right?
Yes. So
okay.
we were a typical dance studio, teaches dance to all ages. I was a run-of-the-mill dance studio in that regard, little kids all the way up through adults. But this program I had created called Princess Ballerinas, you're right, it's for 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. I had, at this point, I was maybe 10 to 12 years into owning my studio. I had already figured out that this was the most lucrative market of the dance studio industry. So I wanted to create this program that was really built to, it was that foundational program that would just bring in lots of students, and then at the base of our studio, and then of course, the value out of our dance studio is they join the dance teams over time. They don't start with one class, they add hip hop, jazz, tap, and they take multiple classes and fall in love with dance. That's how the dance studio business works. So this was the program that I created to be very marketable. It's theme based, created all these great marketing campaigns. It's very visual. The name Princess Ballerinas. We had all these, I sort of productized the experience where it's not just a dance class, but there's award certificates, there's coloring pages, everything goes around a theme-based music, theme-based props. It's an experience. And so it was created as a marketing tool for my studio. It was very successful and it was highly developed. And so I thought, let me hire a consultant. I'll just get rid of everything else. I'll just do Princess Ballerinas and I will just open a few different locations around here. I thought that was the only way. I was just stuck in brick and mortar thinking.
That's small business mindset. How do you do? Y'all just open up other locations, right?
Right. And on our very first call, she said, well, why don't you just package it up and share with other dance studio owners? And it was yes.
Light bulb.
Yes. Why don't I do that? And so I did. And a year later, I sold my studio.
And how awesome is that? And so, first of all, that speaks to working with a coach and, things like that. But it also speaks to the, I don't know if it's the 80-20 rule, but that's what's at play. So you have different, we'll call them revenue streams within your dance studio with the different age groups, right? But you said this one here is the most lucrative. The other thing you were doing, and I think you were doing it out of instinct and marketing, but what you were really doing, you were figuring out a retention-based model, which also generated referrals. You made it fun. You had recognition. You had awards. You brought the family members. So it was more than just dropping, the little girls off at dance class. It was like this whole thing. This Princess Ballerinas became a thing, which I think is really cool.
Yes. Exactly. It was designed to be. So I should say it was 10, 12 years into my brick and mortar business. I had been obsessed with marketing this whole time. So this wasn't an accident. I had, degree in business, but then also have been studying marketing every chance I could get for these 10 or 12 years up to this point. So I went back to the drawing board and purposefully poured all that into creating the Princess Ballerina experience. So this was not an accident.
Yeah, so this person here who just said, hi, Jeff Herring, he's a fellow member of our Dream Business Mastermind. Jeff is a content marketer. So I'm sure he's digging this because what you've really done with all the lesson plans and all the different things you created to run your studio, you kind of boxed them up and started repurposing them and sharing that. Well, we use the word share, but for a monthly fee, right?
Right.
So in relatively short order, you built an online business that was actually bringing in more money than your brick and mortar business.
Yes. I mean, overnight, literally from launching, pretty much. That being said, I did work with a coach during that process to prepare it. So there was a good 10 months of designing, packaging up from taking it from what I'm doing in my brick and mortar studio to then how can this best be shared in a digital format. And it's a subscription model. So I send a monthly lesson plan. Like I said, it's based around a themed experience. So every month my members get the fairy tale theme one month, and then they'll get Winter Wonderland the next month. So there's a bunch of themes, but that really developed out of my need to launch quickly. So in this time I'm working for a coach, I now know, okay, yes, I want to package this up. I want to share it with other studio owners. This ticks off all the boxes of what I'm looking for personally. If I could simplify my business in terms of no more overhead, no more inventory, no more employees, no more, no
more commuting,
no more everything. Right. And also achieve that scale. The entrepreneur in me loves that opportunity that's available, that, to have a limitless income potential, reach potential, impact potential. I mean, that was just so exciting for me. But then it was like, oh, it's going to take me forever to package up. This is a 3-year curriculum, 3, 4, 5-year old, that's what it's teaching. It's going to take me a couple years to package this whole thing up. Then it dawned on me, what if I do the subscription? I really only had I launched in October 2015, and I only had my October lesson plan kit repackaged for, worldwide sharing to launch. And I ran a Facebook ad where I shared a free sample. I got is insanely low lead cost, which I've never been able to duplicate again. But at the time, it was fabulous. I had 1,400. I spent $500, and I got 1,400 studio owners to download a free sample of my lesson plan.
All from a Facebook ad.
Yes, my first one ever.
Because, it's one of the things that people who are getting started in the information marketing business, which is pretty much what this is,
right?
And the membership model, they're like, I don't have a list. Where do I start? Well, you didn't have a list either. I mean, you knew these dance studios are out there, but so you just went to Facebook ads.
Yes, I heart Facebook ads. Yes, they're the best. And I'm still doing this exact thing with my clients to this day. I mean, that's what I love about it. Any small town, I was a local dance studio owner. I was no big credentials, not known to the industry, a nobody. And I took my product, which was working well for me, something that I had poured my heart and soul in, ran a simple Facebook ad, not showing up as a big flashy expert, even just showing up as a peer, and said, I have this Halloween theme lesson plan, dance teachers, go ahead and download a free copy. They did. 1,400 of them did. I actually turned off my ad because I just started freaking out. Like, that was so much to me. I thought, what am I even doing with these? And I turned off my ad, which, now I'm like, what an idiot. You run that thing into the ground. Anyway, so I took those 1,400 people on my list and I emailed them, and I said, I honestly wanted their feedback. Again, I was a small town local dance studio in Napa, California. Had no idea if my ideas had any value in the greater marketplace. No clue. Honestly, humbly went to them and said, what did you think of this? And the response was fantastic. They wrote me back and said, this is great. I love it. So cute. So fun. This has saved me so much lesson planning time. And so then I said, well, I can send you one of these every single month with a new theme, new lesson plan, new playlist, new coloring pages for your students, an award certificate that you can do at the end of every theme. And I was charging $47 a month. And I had 150 studios join within those first at launch. And I was making more doing that, sending out one set of PDF files to this list of studio owners that I was making running my studio after 15 years with 10 employees. Paying $7,000 a month in overhead costs, just all the stuff running the brick and mortar, and instantly had doubled my personal income doing this online business.
That's amazing. So doggone, we got about 9 or 10 minutes, and I have so much to ask you. And I can't delve into the world of Facebook ads, but I'm just curious. Do you remember? You said it was your first ad that you've ever placed. I mean, do you remember what either the headline or the picture was? How did you get such a big response? I mean, Facebook ads have changed a lot, gotten a lot harder to do. But do you remember why you had such luck? Was it beginner's luck, or did you have a great headline, a great picture?
I think, to tell you the truth, I honestly do the exact same thing with my clients now. It hasn't changed. Okay. I know there's a lot of talk and it's so changed and things, but honestly, I do the exact same thing for my clients now. So what I do think works for me and my clients is, number one, it's that very niche market. So dance studio owners are one of those markets that nobody talks to. There's not a lot of products out there for them. There's not a lot of information products for them. No one's running ads to dance studio owners. So when something like this shows up in their feed, it stands out. And it's very, I have that authenticity. I am a real dance studio owner with a real product that resonates with them. And so that's why my clients now, I really love taking other business owners, and I love the niche markets because it's the same thing. So I have a swim school owner. It's the same sort of idea. It's just, you speak their language, and you're providing something that's very, very specific for them. And so that Facebook ad, and again, I love Facebook ads, because of that amazing targeting that I could put my ad directly in front of dance teachers and dance studio owners and nobody else. Because
so when people want to get into the membership business, information marketing, whatever, and they say, I got no list, there's no reason, there's no excuse. You can literally run. What's this? Better shape up. You better shape up. That's so funny. Oh, I think I just got that. Jim Vaughn, good friend down in Florida, electrifying. I think he was going off for Danny Zuko there. Anyway, so Megan, you reached out to me last year. I think it was June or July, something like that.
Yep. And I signed up on my birthday. It was my 38th birthday present to myself.
Oh, is that right? Well, I'm so honored.
I know.
Wow. I do remember that now, the initial email. So since that time, so it's been, 8 months or so, I guess. Not good at math real quick on the spot, but somewhere around 8 months. You became in my Dream Business Mastermind. You're one of my VIP Elite coaching clients. We're working on your book now. You've launched, or I know you've recorded a few podcasts, which is going to be another way that you're going to attract more people. And then literally, I think it was November, we started talking about, you had this idea for the Shine Online community. I'll give the really brief introduction, then you can expand a little bit. But you said, Jim, a lady in my community asked me, she knows I work at home, but didn't know what, I run an online business, that secretive online business, which is code for whatever. Right. And she said, I think I can help her start a business. And that's kind of where the genesis of the Shine Online community started.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it's funny, since I've had my online business, I'm in year 7 now with my Princess Ballerinas business. I've really always had people in, I call it the real world. I take my child to school, there's the online business world, the online internet marketing world, and we all are familiar with this, but there's this whole world of real people going to real jobs and taking their kids to real school. So they've all known, people in my personal life that I do this, and that my husband and I basically live like retirees, and we're always able to volunteer at school. And, it's just these things that people who have real jobs in their late 30s can't do.
Right.
And so I've always had people ask me, and I've always just sort of been like, oh, no, I don't teach this. Like, I just do it, but not thinking I had any larger skill set to teach. And it's actually someone I know has asked me multiple times. And I've always said, oh, no, I don't do that. I don't coach. I don't teach people how to do this. Because in my mind, I was thinking, I can't teach you 20 years of copywriting, graphic design, sales strategy. I can't coach that for you and get the same result. So it wasn't until this woman she literally has asked me multiple times. She texted me again in November, and I said, okay, let me just get on the phone with her, because she's just like repeatedly asking me to help her. You're such an inspiration. She's pregnant with her first child. Please, will you just help me? I would just love to pick your brain, pick your brain.
Mm-hmm.
So I get on the phone with her, just like, fine, I'm just at least get on the phone with her. And she tells me what she's wanting to do. And I'm in my mind, like, yes, I know exactly what she wants to do and I know how she needs to do it. And we connected, and all of a sudden this mind storm. And I said, okay, I'm not going to coach you, but I'm just going to build the thing for you. And I threw out a price, biggest price I've ever charged for anything ever. I come from the world of $57, $47. I'm recurring revenue gal over here. So just throw out a big old, 5-digit number, but I said, I'll build it for you. I'm not going to teach you how to copyright. I'm not going to teach you graphic design. I can't teach you marketing strategy. I've been obsessing over this stuff for 20 years now. I can't even begin to coach you on this. So, but I'll do it for you. And so, of course, she was like, let's do it. And she signed up.
Where do I sign?
Handed over the credit card. And then I think I got on the call with you, our next coaching call. And I said, this is what I'm doing now. And I've definitely and now you've helped me firm everything up and turn it into a business. So Shine Online, the book, the podcast, the coaching, and now a group program, all of the things.
It was so interesting because when you and I first talked, kind of before you became a coaching client, I said, have you ever considered like a high-end coaching program? I mean, you got the whole $47 a month thing locked in, which, by the way, you're offering that as Shine Online also. So it's not the dance studio, but it's how to build an online business. So people that want to go slow and at their own pace, they can do that. But right. I said, have you ever considered working at this very high level, like you are with me, at this very high level? He goes, I just don't see myself as a coach, which, by the way, most of my clients that I've ever worked with say that. You can't, and myself included. I mean, somebody had to tell me, Jim, you ought to have a high-end program, right? So sometimes we don't see ourselves. And Absolutely. So when this thing, and you kind of like push back, say, okay, we'll keep doing this. And then this lady just gave you this huge sum of money, which I think there's more to be had, but we won't dissect all that here live on the radio. But anyway, it really opened your eyes, right? And so much so that you sold 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6 so far, 6 or 7, I think.
7 now.
So 7. And so what we're doing now is figuring out we need to replicate Megan. So, one of my greatest memes I share all the time, either, get comfortable delegating or stay small forever. So now we're building a team. So you're the visionary. You're the one who gets all this done, but you're not the total hands-on doer, right? Another thing I would love you to address, 329. Let's go for 5 more minutes if you're okay, right? Yes. You're okay. Of course you are. You're semi-retired, living the good life, So, one of the things we figured out was that there's a certain type of clientele that's going to be good for the high-end programs. It's not the person who's 19, no offense in most cases, but there's women who maybe it's post-kids or somewhere in that empty nester area who feel like they want to do something else, whether it's another income or maybe they want to finally do something that's their own. And, money's not so much of an issue. And it's a perfect client for you, right?
Yes. So it's typically like a change of life person. So I get a lot of new moms, they're early 30s, and they've been in their career for a long time, or they have a small business, just like my dance studio. And it's like, exactly, they are me when I had my studio. They don't want to just give that up because they've built this, they have this expertise. So it's helping them move online, just like I did with my Princess Ballerina dance program. The other client I attract is women, nearing 60. They've had this long career. Typically, these are business owners again, and they want to sell their business or, but they're not ready to totally give it up, but they want the time freedom that the online business creates. You can't replicate that leverage and time freedom anywhere else that comes with the online business. And so it's those people again. And for my older clients, I think there's that legacy thing. It's like, gosh, I've created this body of work over 30 years doing this in my local business. But if there's a way I can make money, package this up and help other people, there's an impact factor there. There's a legacy factor there. In addition to, that sort of passive income that's going to be there for them even into retirement.
That's right. Yeah. So, every day I get on my bike and I ride out the 7 Mile bridge to where it ends, where Arnold said, the bridge is out. Right. So, but I also, because I'm not in traffic, I will put one earbud in and I listen. So this morning I was listening to an old Dan Kennedy Info Summit recording. And he had a bunch of people who most of them I am friends with. And he was interviewing them about what the big breakthroughs were. And it was just interesting. I mean, I know this, but sometimes you need to rehear things. And he was like, what was your big breakthrough? And almost all of them, and I know it's probably a little self-serving, but they said, Dan, when I joined your mastermind, it was the life changer. Not that Dan isn't brilliant, he is, but he said the ideas that I got from the other folks in the group and all the accountability and stuff. And I said, it's so true. And I was actually processing and thinking of our interview today. And I think, even before you met me, Megan, you said you worked with a coach who turned on this light bulb about your brick and mortar business and how you had developed like this genius around this marketing and retention based, referral based program. And now instead of just growing more physical locations, you're like, let me help all these other dance studios who could use help. So that was the genesis. And then you connected with me. So for the people who love watching these videos or listening to this podcast, they've always been on the fence about being in a mastermind. I'm gonna pull my Dan Kennedy. What do you say to those people who still have yet to pull that trigger and invest in themselves?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I've always been one to have a business coach and be in a mastermind. And it's that combination, because I do think coaches have a unique ability to see that potential in you and that next step in. It's really like this Shine Online has snapped into place for me because this is who I have become. I just didn't recognize it. So the coach will recognize who you've become. Maybe you've been doing the same thing for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. A coach will help you recognize that and step into that new role as well as see where you're headed. But then that mastermind aspect, yeah, you really can't replace it. And even if I'm not on every mastermind call, I always listen to the replays. And exactly, it's just this idea storm of someone asks a question, someone else will respond, which spurs and inspires another response from someone else. And you're totally, it creates truly that mastermind environment where, the total is more than the sum of the parts. Right. So, and it just can't be replicated anywhere else, especially when you get a mastermind of really, really smart, experienced people together. It creates a snowball effect. And then, I'm usually on a walk when I listen to those calls, and I'm stopping with my cell phone and in my notes app, writing down every 2 seconds, okay, do this and do this and do this. And the ideas might be very random, but that's what entrepreneurs need, that raw data of brilliance that, you might be then walking down the street a week later, trying to figure out whatever problem or whatever you're trying to do in your business. And that's when your brain will calculate, pull out that raw piece of data that you picked up from that mastermind call or that coaching call. And that's when you get that idea and that solution for what you're looking for, That's
so true. And there's never guarantees, right? What's the ROI for that? There's no way to predict that, right? But you've certainly done well with coaches.
I was going to say, yes, I was doing some math, and I think I hit 100% return on my coaching investment with you on month 5. And I think if I reach my goal in the next 30 days, that would be a 500% return on my coaching investment in terms of 12-month receivables coming, but with contracts. So that's pretty darn good.
500%. That doesn't suck. Now, there's no guarantees. Your results may be different, but but the thing is, and honestly, I've worked with coaches and mentors. I'm very open about all that, and some of these people that have just pulled me out of my own way and helped me see things. Anyway, Megan, I'm so impressed, and I know people listen on the monthly calls. Not everybody shows up. We always get a good mix, and so many people. Oh, I love the replays, and so many people are telling me they're so impressed with what you're doing. That's why I really wanted to get you on here. I know there's some people that are listening right now. I'm not going to call you out by name that really wanted to hear more of your story. So thank you for inspiring. I think what I tell people as a coach, because 15 years ago, I'm not a coach, I'm an entrepreneur, a marketer, etc. But when you have the ability to coach other people to higher levels of success, what I tell people, fellow coach, I said, look, the paycheck doesn't suck, but what lights me up is when you get compliments like that, 500% ROI, and we're only not even halfway through our program. And I know. And good. What are we going to do the next year? Good Lord. No, we're going to figure it out. We'll go to 1,000%, but it really is. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you for being so open about your story. I'm so impressed, folks. Again, it's February 23rd. If you're listening to this in the future, so we're probably a little less than 30 days. Megan, we saw the book cover. How awesome is that book cover?
I love it.
Man, our designer just kicks butt. So we're really, really close to getting Megan's book published. So I'd say probably before the next 30 days, certainly by the March 1st, Megan's book will be up. And your podcast, I mean, is that officially launched, or you're recording episodes right now?
In the next 30 days. Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot on live radio, but we're going to say March 1st. Everything happens March 1st.
March 1st.
And the reason I want to make a point of that is, look, we can only cover so much stuff here, but Megan is somebody who at a very young age has done tremendous things. And I think one of the things that holds so many entrepreneurs back, especially young ones, from accomplishing a lot is lack of courage, or sometimes I'll say chutzpah or cojones, whatever word you want to use. But she has stepped up and she like swings for the fences. She doesn't go for a ground ball. She doesn't bunt it just to get on first base. And so I've hoped that her story has inspired you and perhaps even motivated you to look at some cool things. So Megan, how can people, where can people connect with you? Like, what's the main website where they can start learning from you and follow your story?
ShineOnlineNetwork.com. Unless you're a dance studio owner, PrincessBallerinas.com, or Shine Online with Megan Meyers is my Facebook page.
Shine Online, Megan Meyers, and Princess Ballerinas is if you're in the dance studio business. And the other one is ShineOnlineNetwork.com.
Yes.
Awesome. Megan, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Hey, folks, that wraps up this very special interview with superstar entrepreneur Megan Meyers. I highly recommend you connect with her. We just gave you all the information there, and we'll put it in the show notes, I think, when this goes to audio. Anyway, you can connect with me at getjimpalmer.com, getjimpalmer.com. If you're interested in the Dream Business Mastermind, which would be an amazingly smart thing on your part, that is Dream Biz Coaching, Dream Biz Coaching. Remember to get all my books at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and the iBook Store. But that's it. Until this time next week, another fantastic video. I'm Captain Jim Palmer, the Dream Business Coach. You take good care.